Hello and welcome to another Tech Campus Coffee Live webinar. This is an opportunity for you to learn about career paths at Tech directly from professionals in your field.
We'll be speaking to technical representatives from a variety of fields at Tech, and they'll share why they enjoy what they do.
Participants also have a chance to directly ask speakers and recruiters questions and get a good understanding of why Tech is a great place to work, as well as where your strengths, talents, and learning opportunities lie.
I'm going to move over to talking to some of the experts in our field and people who work at the operations and talk a little bit about what they get to do on a day-to-day basis at work. So what I'll do, I'm going to pass it over to each of you to do a bit of an intro. It's obviously Jill and Adam that you see on the screen here, and they're going to speak a little bit about what they do. So maybe Jill, I'll start with you since you're at the top of the picture here. And if maybe you could just do a sort of an intro, tell us a little bit about what you do at work day to day, and what your position is here at Tech Cole.
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jill. I'm a mining engineer. I graduated from the U of A in 2015. So I've been working at Fording River Mine since 2018 with Tech. And I've done a number of roles, but right now I'm currently working in the legacy waste role. So at Tech, we've been in operations for quite some time. And we have some waste materials, some special waste materials such as hot rock, combusting waste rock, we call it, and as well as tailings. So right now, just from a project perspective, really working on how to manage, remediate this waste. I've done a bunch of stuff as well as within the projects group. Done soil salvage, reclamation, and remediation, as well as coal quality and short-range planning.
Awesome. That's great, Jill. Thanks for that. Perfect. All right, and over to you, Adam, if you could do an intro about yourself and what you get to do here at Tech.
My name's Adam Lauren. I work at Line Creek Operations as a mine technician. I kind of come from like a survey and supervisor background in civil construction and mining and seismic and everything that's gone on and evolved. I'm kind of one of the old boys at site, so it's kind of nice. They're young work crews and like lots of good future in it. Essentially, what I really do is I'm a liaison between the operations group and the engineering group. So I explain the complex in a very simple manner to the people that have to execute it. And the other side of it is I'm a lead pilot at site, so I produce an absolute crazy amount of drone data for the short range engineering group, and basically just data for incidents, data for spoils. We basically fly and model everything on the mine site in the period of about a week at the moment for the Line Creek operation.
Awesome. That's great. And then Adam, I sort of alluded to before we had joined the call, but in terms of like to be a drone pilot at the site, maybe that's where we'll start. What does it take to be a certified pilot at site? Like I know there's lots more regulations around it of late that have changed things for us.
Yeah, things have evolved, and for the best purposes of safety and just making sure that the people who are doing it have the experience and the time invested into it, that it's actually makes sense for each operation and where we do it. But essentially Transport Canada has their requirements. That's the first thing that we have to meet and kind of accomplish. So you have to get an advanced drone license through Transport Canada. And it basically involves, we put you through a course called Coastal Drone. And through that, hopefully you get enough information on crazy topics that have more to do with being an actual pilot than a drone pilot. And you attempt the incredibly hard test. So I know that the test has been a struggle for most. Line Creek's most recent student, Ben Parkinson, passed it first try. He's one of the only guys I know that's done it, but it's basically $10 a test through Transport Canada. You have to get over 80%. I think it's 40 questions. And then from there, it's just a matter of getting flight time. So Tech's requirement to be an active pilot is minimum 2 hours a month. And hopefully, before you end up flying on any of the sites, you've kind of like done your course and you've got your transport license, and from there you end up doing a flight review with one of our advanced teachers that like we have in the Valley here. And from there you're kind of on your own. There's a whole series of drones that we fly, but we put a lot of time and investment into teaching students the right way so that we don't have any issues with flyaways or crashes here on site.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I think it's kind of cool to highlight that we've had students come on board, we've trained them, and they literally come out with a like a pilot's license for drones, flying drones, which is pretty cool to experience to have.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. All right, and Jill, I guess I'm kind of curious. So you said you started with tech in 2018 at Fording River. Right now you're in a really interesting role. I guess I'd like to know a little bit about, where you started from, like when you got hired, and then have you had an opportunity to work in a few different areas? Maybe just talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely have 3 specific areas. So when I started, I was hired in the projects group working on the SWIFT project and specifically doing soil salvage and timber harvest. So prior to mine disturbance, it's really important we try and utilize as much of the resources possible. So that includes saving soil for future reclamation, and then as well the timber harvest, anything that's merchantable, mining or harvesting that timber, and then as well anything that isn't merchantable we want to try and salvage, and we'll either mulch it and keep it with our soil to produce more of a seed bank when we go to reclaim, or sometimes we'll like just leave it as logs and then we can place it onto reclaimed slopes afterwards. So that was where I started, and then really exciting, got to move into coal quality. So back into more of working directly with mine operations. I did that for 2.5 years, and I have to say it was definitely one of my most favorite positions. It is on shift work, and you just get to know mine ops really well. And I also, in that role, I got to work with a bunch of different crews as well, the way that they rotate coal quality. So it was really a great experience. And when you work in day-to-day operations like that, there is a little bit of a pressure to perform, but I feel like it really helped me grow and helped to make decisions quick as well. And everything you do has to be done within your 12-hour shift, and sometimes you have to make some hard calls on specific coal seams, and so it really helped me develop from that sense. And then that sort of prepared me for what I'm doing now. So a legacy waste planner, there's really a lot of freedom on how I want to facilitate this project, and it does require a lot of personal discipline, which I kind of got from that coal quality role as well. But really like the aspect of this position, and that it's dealing with some of our legacy waste issues and how to remediate it. So there are coal seams that we had left in the past that we now have legacy waste on top of. So I mentioned the tailings, that combusting waste. So not only are we just going to mine this material, but we also need to make sure we remediate it. And in the new place that we put it, we treat it. So we cool the combusting waste rock. We make sure the tailings won't have any geotechnical issues or impacts on water quality. So yeah, definitely a bit of a challenge, the current project I'm working on, but it's a great opportunity, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
That's awesome. It's always neat to hear a little bit more in depth about what we do from a reclamation standpoint, and it's just the efforts that tech puts in. I'm always really it makes me, proud to work for a company that goes through these efforts and really does the right thing, and it makes you feel good about the company you work for, let's just say. Awesome. All right, and Jill, there's a question in the chat, and I know there's a few here, so I will get to all of them, but I know just while Jill's chatting right now, I thought I'd highlight this. So someone's asked about a grad program for EITs with tech, so that you can move around, and obviously you've had an opportunity to move a little bit through your career. So I guess I'll mention first that we do have an EIT rotation available for new graduates and EITs that work here. It's not one that's necessarily set in stone, and maybe Jill, you can speak to that a little bit more, but we certainly provide opportunities for our engineers to really build their skills through different areas, like Jill has highlighted here through her experience, and obviously get you prepared to get your PEng once it's all said and done. So it's certainly something that we prioritize as a company and make sure that that's what we're working towards and give you a good variety of experience. And maybe Jill, if you want to add a little bit more to that comment.
Sure. Yeah. From my experience and all of my coworkers, any positions that you've wanted to rotate into, as long as you're talking with your supervisor, usually you'll be able to move into those positions. And we do, like on our team, I know they encourage a lot of moving to different roles so that people can gain a broader knowledge base. And specifically with coal quality, when I started doing soil salvage, I immediately knew that was something I wanted to do. We put it in my development plan, and then, yeah, it was something when the time came, I was able to rotate into it.
Nice. That's awesome. Great. And now, Adam, maybe I'll pass it over to you to give Jill a break and give you a chance to chat a little bit more. But I'm curious to hear a little bit more. We sort of alluded before the chat. There's a whole program that oversees sort of or works hand in hand with operations in terms of the drone work. Like there's a Tech Air group, and I know that there's a couple co-op opportunities that are coming up for January in that particular group. I guess, can you talk us through a little bit about the different technologies or different tools that we're using as a team to support operations, and whether it's Tech Air or any of the ones that you're familiar with?
Yeah, we can speak to that for sure. So Tech Air is quite new. It's been in the works for quite a while with tech, as regulations and safety orientation around droning has changed so much. But essentially, we have a group now that's specifically dedicated to ensuring that pilots have everything that they need, and that all of our drone usage, like from site to site, actually follows some kind of, like overlord, if you will, like of rules and regulations, what we can and can't do. My cross shift at Line Creek was Sean Gibson. He kind of is known in the tech world as kind of our drone leader. And so he's moved up in his role responsibilities now and actually has taken kind of one of the lead roles with Simon Long over at the Tech Air Group. The Tech Air Group is really cool because essentially what you're doing is you're getting to work with the newest in drone technology for whether it's photogrammetry, which is a lot of our model work and our drone work, for making our 3D meshes and our surfaces. But we've moved beyond that now. So we do gas detection from drone. We use a magnometer, which we're hoping will show processes of where the breaks are in our cables on site, because they get dragged around quite a bit. That's what powers our shovels and lots of other important things. The methane detection's cool. We did one of those at site the other day. So the Tech Air Group kind of established to take care of the external requests and kind of push the scientific boundaries of what's possible with the drone program. And then our site-based responsibilities are, they're quite similar to what they were when we started doing photogrammetry. The only difference is the data that we can deliver is of a much higher quality, and with like the enablement of terrain following, which is where the drone actually follows the terrain that you're mapping. Our high wall mapping is, it's some of the best in the world. We've actually been approached by mines outside of tech to ask us how we got our program to where it is. And it's taken pilots like Sean, and it's taken kids that are, willing and eager to learn and want to get into that side of mining.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard of some of the work they're doing, and it's pretty exciting. I got a couple of follow-up questions here that are popping up in the chat, so I'll and then I know there's a hand up as well. So quickly before I grab the hand up, I'll just ask, someone's asked, like, do you have to be a bachelor in drone technology or is high school? So in my experience, I've seen people come from, often they do an undergrad and then they might do a post-grad certificate in like GIS or remote sensing. I guess, Adam, do you have any thoughts on that in terms of usually the education background to get into like the field that you're in?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, most of the education background comes from GIS. Coming like from a survey or a mapping school, or I know SAIT has an incredible program. We work hand in hand with them. But the nice thing is, you know, if you were scheduled for engineering, or if you're working towards like an EIT program, surveying it's a big foundation of what engineering is. So the original ground data and the original field data always comes from survey first, and then lies in the hands of those that know how to work with it. So yeah, I don't necessarily think you have to be GIS, but it definitely helps. My background is from a warehouse. I've got a Red Seal ticket in warehousing. So I've just been surveying for a long time, and it's something I love doing. And you know, the drone possibilities are just open to those that are willing to pursue it.
Cool, that's great. No, there's definitely lots of little avenues to go. There's never a one-stop shop in terms of how to get into these careers. So it's kind of interesting to hear how people sort of evolve into it sometimes too, right? That's great. Thank you for that. Okay, and then, you know, maybe Jill, I'll lean on you for the next question. And oh, actually, sorry. How about I go to the hand? I don't want to let them sit for too long. Can someone see who has the hand up? Is it Emmanuel?
Yes, Manuel.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, I had a question for you. So I'm a mining engineering student from UBC. I completed 2 co-ops. One was in oil sands and one was in geotechnical consulting. I love the geotechnical consulting side of it. Unfortunately, I've never really seen the planning side of things. Now, I would like to see, I'm about to graduate this year, but the question for me is, would Tech be able to offer a co-op kind like position for me, even though I'm graduated? Because I'd like to, of course, try it out to see if I like, say, open pit coal or underground coal or open pit copper at HVC, for example. Would you guys offer that kind of idea before going into an EIT?
Great question. I guess I'll speak to it first, and if anyone wants to jump in after. I would say that's what I guess the EIT rotation would probably be more focused in. That'll give you the opportunity to try a few different areas. We're hesitant to hire new grads into co-op roles because we're very protective of the co-op experience and the co-op positions. So and you know, we use them as a way to build a talent pool for future opportunities, but it's tough when someone's a graduate. And you can imagine we've gotten burned in the past where someone comes in as an intern and then, you know, they get another position. You know, it's tricky, right? So we do tend to lean highly on co-op students or people who are returning to academic studies after a co-op. And it's just because that's what those positions are sort of geared towards and based around. So yeah, it's not a hard no, but I'd say it's really rare we would do that. It would be quite an exception, but an EIT program that could give you an exposure to a few different areas would give you such a great opportunity to sort of try out a few different areas before you choose like, hey, this is the path I want to take, you know, moving forward into like my professional career.
Yeah, well, my question was more centered around if I can, just as a student who has graduated, take a co-op.
Yeah, I would say no, probably.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, Emmanuel, the two things to add. I do find there are a lot of engineers at Tech who've started off in a particular role, like full time, and then they've gradually moved to a different area. They found their passion, and we're such a large organization. We have so many different opportunities. There's the potential to start off in one particular career path and end up somewhere else, which is actually like many people at our organization. As for the co-op roles and having new grads fill them, I'm very protective of co-op roles because I feel that there's a lot of students out there that that need that co-op experience. And if we start filling co-op positions with new grads, what happens is most likely they're going to do well. And it's very easy to be tempted to keep that new grad into that position full time or indefinitely, both from the new grad's perspective and the supervisor's perspective. And what happens is, I've seen this at other companies, is the co-op position disappears. And you do a couple of these, and all of a sudden, all these co-op positions disappear, and you take away the learning and experience opportunities for hundreds of other students over time. So we definitely want to. Fair. Yeah, so that's the short answer. The long answer to your question.
No, that makes absolute sense. You want to keep that rotating desk for co-op. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, but thanks for the question, Emmanuel. That's great. Awesome. And then, speaking of co-op, maybe I'd love to get Jill and Adam's feedback as well, but I also have Ray Whitehead on the line, and Ray is a current co-op at Tech, And I think it's always nice for students to hear a little bit from a student themselves about the experience they're able to get. So I've asked Ray to join and maybe just share with us a little bit about his co-op, where his background is, and then what kind of fun things he's got to do as a co-op here with Tech. Well, Ray, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, so my name is Ray Whitehead. I've finished 3 years of mine engineering at Queen's, and right now I'm in like a long-range position at Fording River, which is in the Elk Valley, and I'm currently loving what I'm doing. My last like big project I was working on I was designing a haul road, which will help like adjust the current like haul system in one of our busiest areas, which is pretty interesting to work on. I was able to use MineSight, which is a 3D like software, as well as HaulNet to be able to analyze the haul traffic. Yeah. Another team I've been able to work with is the design and permitting team, where I've been able to like help permit advances in the mine, which will allow us to like keep expanding the mine in the future. And recently I've started helping out Jill on her project, and she's been able to get me a lot of site experience. So I'm in the mine quite a few of the days of the week to get not only some office experience but as well as like some pit experience, which is great. As far as, don't want to run too long here, Stacy, but
That's okay.
yeah, part of the reason I really like this co-op is like the location. The Elk Valley is beautiful. I mean, the community is great. There are 4 active mines in the area, as well as a lot of different like people all around the place, like working in Spar, working in these offices. So for example, like last weekend I went camping with 12 other co-ops that I met out here. The community is really great. Tech does a really good job at like introducing you to new people, so no one's really alone out here, which I know I've had one co-op before and the company didn't do the greatest job of it and you feel kind of alone in the co-op, but Tech shows the complete opposite. So yeah, I'm hoping to answer any questions about that.
Awesome, Ray. Thank you for that. No, it's great. I mean, it's something that because our co-op program's just grown so large, we definitely saw the need, and Misaki and myself work together and really just helping support that student community, and it helps make it pretty fun. Like I know Ray had talked about, he'd gone on camping trips with other co-ops. There's lots of stuff. We have welcome events, and then obviously try and support. Everyone's got to relocate, so it certainly is different relocating to a small town, but we try and support you through that too, to make sure you can find housing and all those things, and really help our students make it a smooth transition. And yeah, then they get some pretty amazing experience, which is great. It's so great to hear that you're able to take on lots of responsibility as a co-op. And that's something I talk about a lot, but it's always nice to hear it from a student to say, yeah, it's true. I'm not just saying it. It's it's legit. So that's great. Thanks for that, Ray. I know there's a bunch of questions popping up in the chat here, so I'm trying to keep a handle on them. Misaki, maybe you want to help me out and just make sure.
Stacey, yeah, maybe we'll just go in order here. So Emil's asked about when we're talking about hiring, are we talking about summer jobs, full-time jobs, and other questions about summer internships?
Great. Yeah, a bit of everything. So co-ops for us, I think someone else has asked this question, so I'll cover a couple of things here. We hire co-ops every 4 months. So right now we're just starting the recruitment for the January start. And they are they're 4 months, 8 months, or 12 months, generally lean towards 8 and 12 or 16-month co-op experiences. Then we also have a summer student program as well across Tech. So a few of our operations do that. And those would start obviously in May, and we would start recruiting for them in January. So we generally start recruiting 4 months in advance to a co-op term. So right now we have a pile of postings on the website for the upcoming January term that we've just put up in there. I think right now they're until the 24th, 25th, I believe it is, 25th. And then likely they'll get extended further on into that as we actively recruit. But we have over 70 roles across the business right now to fill for January. So lots of opportunities. Did I answer it all?
Christy has asked if you need to be in a co-op program to apply.
No, you don't have to be. I've alluded to it earlier. You want to be returning to a full-time academic semester or academic schooling, but someone can take an academic break and come and work for Tech, and that's okay. We can put you into a co-op position. Obviously, we lean quite heavily on our co-op relations with our co-op offices across Canada and at different universities, but it's not a deal breaker for us. But as long as they're returning back to school.
How about full-time opportunities? Okay, there's some specific ones. So this one's full-time opportunities for business administration. New grads. or
Yeah, I
masters?
think a couple of people had asked about full-time. So yeah, we're certainly promoting full-time opportunities. I know we have people like Adam and Jill on here that have moved into full-time roles from graduation. We hire a lot of our former co-ops. We also hire outside of that as well. So if you haven't had an opportunity to have a co-op with tech, we still do hire lots of people in new graduate positions. We don't have set times of year that we hire new grads. So I guess that's something for everyone to make note of. What I would suggest is keeping an eye on the website. It is it's basically ongoing as needed. We'll see a new grad or a 1 to 2 year sort of new engineer, say for example, come up on the website. So I would just say keep it on the website. You can set yourself up for job alerts to be able to navigate, because there are a lot of roles. Like we have, I think, over 200 openings right now just in coal alone. So that's not in addition to all the technology roles we have. So it's something to keep an eye on it's constantly evolving on the website.
Jamil and Sapir have asked about jobs for next summer. I guess co-op positions for next summer. I guess when does recruitment start?
Yeah, so for the summer, we'll start in January. So you'll see postings go up early January, and we'll be having posted up for the summer term. So usually 4 months in advance of every term start, we'll start recruiting.
There's a question about what about civil engineers and water professionals?
Oh yeah. Yep, we hire lots of those. Water has been a big one, and I'm sure Jill, you could speak to this a lot too. And maybe I'll get you to jump in on this one. But we have a lot of work happening. We have a whole water quality management group, and we hire lots of civil engineers within that. And then obviously Jill's talked about working in the projects group. We also hire civil engineers within our projects teams as well. I don't know, Jill, do you want to maybe comment on a little bit of opportunities for civil water engineers?
Yeah, just around water. Like I work a lot with the water quality group out of Sparwood. There's definitely, it's really important to make sure, we're just, having proper practices around water management. So water management within projects group as well. But then, as a mining engineer, we work with the water quality group in Sparwood a lot, just around making sure our mine plans are put into the water quality model. So I guess that's all I would have to say is that I just work a lot with that group, and I know that it's a pretty big group and definitely really important. It's something we always have to check off as a mining engineer to make sure we're properly assessing our impacts to water quality.
Yeah, it's neat. Yeah, the mining group and environmental group do work hand in hand quite a bit, which is really neat to see, like looking at the impacts earlier in the stage of planning. It's nice. It's a good process to have in place for sure. I did forget, Masaki, I know you mentioned business. We do hire for business as well. I forgot to highlight that, but we do have co-op opportunities as well as new graduate opportunities, and it's in a variety of areas. We've got like people in business admin that are supporting some of the like initiatives we have in our environmental group. We also have them obviously human resources, supply chain. You'll see positions there, finance and accounting. There's really, I always thought that was kind of interesting. When you think about mining, a lot of people don't think about the business side of it. And they're always like, oh, you have to have mining engineers and mechanical engineers. But there is a lot of really cool opportunities from a business perspective as well. And lots of business students work within the company in a variety of areas.
Lawrence has asked about, and I'm not sure, he's asked, are there any PGOs that work at Tech? And I'm wondering if that's PGOs, like as in the professional geologists, I'm guessing, but maybe we'll start with that because I'm not sure what PGO would be.
Yeah, unless you might know, Jill, maybe you know more about that than I do. Maybe Lawrence, if you want to turn your mic on, you could maybe clarify for us, because maybe we're just missing something. Or Adam, if you know what a PGO is.
PGO, it's a professional designation for geologists.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the PGO.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking that they were meaning. Okay. Yeah. So certainly lots of professionals, and something that we're like similar to the engineering stream. We focus a lot on making sure people get their professional designations in all the sort of technical disciplines. We might have a few questions to deal with, but I guess before we get into that, I'll just do my little plug on to check the Tech website right now. If you are interested in opportunities coming up for the January term, then and that's be for like a co-op or internship experience, then those positions are posted. There's like over 20 of them that are posted on our website right now. So we've got a really cool variety. So everything from engineers to technologists to drone pilots. We're looking for the whole gamut. So yeah, there's some really interesting roles, and obviously from the chat today, yeah, there's you get some cool responsibilities, you get some really neat exposure to the sites, and obviously it's a great opportunity to get your foot in the door, to build those relationships and make a good impression, so that hopefully it leads to full-time employment. And that's something that we focus on a lot as our team, is really how do we turn this opportunity into building that talent pool for future opportunities for people to come on with tech, because there's no shortage of full-time opportunities either. So it's a great way to get that foot in the door. And then any questions that we should be dealing with? Sorry,
Yeah.
Masaki, I'm going to lean on you for that.
I know it's gotten pretty long, but we've managed to get through a chunk. I think Raid was asking about if there's any part-time positions at Tech.
It's rare that we would have part-time, so you don't see it very often. I don't know if you're referring to while you're in school, because most of our positions are based at operations.
He's a full-time student.
Okay, yeah. So if you're still in school, yeah, you would really have to get to operations. It's rare that we would find a part-time. Sometimes we have moved a co-op student as they're returning to school, maybe have a bit of a transition period where we keep them on part-time and sort of support the team, a few hours a week kind of thing. But we often don't hire new graduates like part-time basis. It's usually full-time.
Jim Pio is asking if there's opportunities for graduate mining engineering students.
You betcha. Yeah, there's lots. So you'll see them come up every so often, like I mentioned, for mining engineers. But yeah, we've already hired, I think, just heard an interesting number just today. I think it's 9 positions just over the past couple of months that are former co-ops that rolled into mining engineers, a couple of environments. So you'll see lots of those opportunities posted externally. So just keep an eye on the website and you'll see them come up.
And then I've got a couple questions about computer science roles at Tech and data science roles.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we hire all the above. I don't think we say no to anyone, do we, Masaki? Every time someone brings up, we're like, yes, we have hired it and we will again. So computer science, lots of opportunities in the various areas, whether it's with our data scientist team, which we also hire data scientists for. It could be we have a lot of technology teams that are focused on managing big data. We have groups that are more focused on desktop support, so computer science side of that. There's quite a variety, and like you say, if you keep it on the website, you'll certainly start to see a couple of those roles come up, and we do name them sometimes interesting, different than what maybe you'd be expected. So it's good to really do a bit of homework on the website and look at what the roles are called, what are they looking for in terms of requirements, so then you can set yourself up for those job alerts, and as those jobs come up, some of them are sort of mining specific, I guess, with the title. So it's just good to educate yourself on what those titles are generally called at Tech.
Yeah, and just to add to that, for those interested, we have on October 11th a Campus Coffee Live webinar on digital transformation. So you can learn more about specific areas in terms of the data science and computer programming types of roles. October 4th, landing a job at Tech. So, feel free to check out the other options, Campus Coffee, and we'll do more in January and February as well, other topics for those who are interested. There's a question about EIT opportunities in South America.
Yeah, so similar to North America, they do have programs. If you live in North America, I would say it's rare to get hired there unless you're able to work in South America already. They do have obviously a program with the universities in South America, like in Chile in particular, is an area that we do a lot of hiring. Now that being said, if you're an employee of Tech, there is opportunities to potentially move within different operations, and that's certainly a possibility as a part of your role. There may be opportunity to learn Spanish in your role if you don't already know it, and then potentially get transferred in and do a secondment, say, with whatever Chile operations. Again, that's a possibility if it's part of your growth plan and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think it's covered most of the questions, unless I'm missing something. Let me see here.
Has a hand up too, Masaki. Sorry, I just noticed. Just want to make sure.
Jamil's got his hand up. Yeah.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to ask a question. I'm a mining engineer at U of T, and the positions that you guys have released so far that are ones that start in January. So I know you guys said you have like 8, 12, and 16-month costs, but I was wondering if you guys have any that would start in May, and if those would be released in like January, as you guys said it. Because when you guys said it, I wasn't sure if that was for like just summer, like 4-month co-ops, or if you were talking about like 12 months ones.
Yeah, certainly we would be posting our co-op positions for in January for May. So yeah, we kind of have two programs running at the same time. So we'd have a summer student program, which is a combination of technical experience as well. There's some that are more labor roles, and then we have our co-op term that obviously runs again at the same time. So yeah, you would see postings for that in January for May.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Jamil. All right. And then I think, I don't know if there's any other questions, but Natalia, I think, is going to share us just a slide and a little bit sort of build on what Ray had talked about in terms of his co-op experience. We always go through like a process of going through a survey with our students that work for us to sort of talk a little bit about their role, what they liked about it. And so we pulled a few quotes from some of the students to sort of build on what Ray's talked about and just how they've had a really enjoyable experience with us and that what their favorite parts were about it. So anyway, it's just interesting to, I guess, get it from the students as well, because I know that Jill and Adam and Masaki and I could all talk about it until we're blue in the face, but I think sometimes it means a lot more when it comes from the students that actually get a chance to work here. And you know, we get like 99% of the students really just feel like they've got a lot of great experience when they work at Tech. So I feel very confident in saying that aloud because I see the surveys and I see what they say and the kind of work they get to do and the responsibilities they have. It really is it's really a great opportunity for a student. And then I know that, yeah, you'll see in the chat here, we've posted. So we continue to spam you if you've already got a couple of spams from us already in terms of encouraging you to join the meeting today. We also want to hear from you and get your feedback on the campus coffee that we posted today or any other sort of events that you would like to see or any other topics that you'd like us to cover. We'd love to hear back from you so that we can constantly tweak this campus coffee experience and make sure it's providing the information that you guys are looking to hear about. So if you wouldn't mind filling out that feedback survey, it's just in the chat there. And yeah, we'd love to hear back on what you'd like to hear from us. Anything I missed there, Masaki? My big deal?
Late question came in about the hiring procedure for co-ops, but
sure.
Yeah, apply on a website. I think nope, chat just disappeared on me.
I know, yeah, it was weird, just weird. But yeah, so in terms of just give you a quick overview. So we do use a video interviewing tool right now. So sometimes that's your first point of contact. We'll reach out to you and give you a link to do a quick video, couple like 4 questions on a video link. And then if you've been shortlisted for the role, and then what we would do is go through that, and then we do line up for another second interview with a recruiter from there, and then yeah, sometimes it ends up a technical interview. Sometimes it's just a recruiter who's going to chat a little bit about the roles and can give you an understanding from there. It does take a little bit of time. I will ask for patience as you walk through the process. Like I said, we've got quite a few roles and a pretty lean team, so we'll certainly go through as quick as we can. But yeah, we'll start interviewing and sending out those video recruitment links over the next couple of weeks, and then that'll be ongoing for probably 6 weeks or so by the time we get all our positions filled. So it'll be a bit staggered. So some people might hear at the start if they had early apps, and then we'll work through as quickly as we possibly can.
I realize we're at time, so for those who have to take off now, thank you for joining, and thank you, Adam, Jill, Ray, and everybody else in the background for our team for this event. Hopefully you all learned something. You students, Stacy and I, we can probably stick around for a little bit to answer the final questions I see just popped up in the chat. But otherwise, thanks, and hopefully you join again. We'll have plenty more campus coffee opportunities for you to learn more about tech.
Thanks, everybody.
So Stace, I think this question here, there's about for software dev co-ops, what's the remote work policy?
So we have a flex at work policy right now for tech. So that allows us to do a couple of days from home and then a couple of days in the office. I guess team by team, there are some variations to that policy. So we don't have anything that's set in stone across. And then you can imagine it's quite challenging given some people are supporting operations. Some people have a position that maybe doesn't need to be at the operations on a day-to-day basis. So it can vary, but right now we have a flexible work schedule where you can be in the office for a few days and then maybe work from home for 1 to 2 days a week. I guess we'll just leave it at that just because every team's a little bit different.
Sarampreet's asking for opportunities that are 8 or 12 months, would we consider a 4 months availability?
We can sometimes. So yeah, we definitely prefer 8 to 12 months, and it's only because it's quite in depth, and you can tell from like the comments that Ray made and Jill and Adam make in terms of what the co-ops are doing here. They get pretty in depth, and so it's really hard. Like after 4 months, you're literally just starting to get your head around what you're doing, and then you're out the door. So we do lean on the longer terms. Every now and then we can make an exception, or I can talk to a hiring manager and sort of convince them to do a 4 on the occasion, but the bulk of them would be for the longer length for sure.
Raid asked, he's got over 10 years work experience as IT business analyst, but not in Canada. Does he have any chance after completing his graduate to diploma in business administration at MUN?
At MUN, yeah. So certainly, yes, we've hired people from all kinds of backgrounds. So having somebody that comes in as a new grad, but has 10 years experience on their belt, boy, that's a win for a company, I think, every single time. So yeah, I would say you would certainly be considered.
Great. I think we've answered all the questions, if I'm not mistaken. Shall we wrap this one up?
Let's do it. Let's call it.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.